Blog Talk Radio.
The purple angel, oh purple angel, you're next to me. Purple angel, oh purple angel, you're next to me. You're next to me. You're next to me.
Well, hello, everyone, and welcome to Alzheimer Speaks Radio. I hope you're having a wonderful day. Today we're going to have just a kind of a fun, exciting show for you, and I'm really thrilled that we're going to be talking about the Purple Angel project, and it's coming over to America and getting filmed. But before I do that, I always like to tell people a little bit about Alzheimer Speaks as a whole. Alzheimer Speaks is an advocacy-based group that provides education and tools and resources to people around the world. Our whole goal is to shift dementia care from crisis to comfort. And we do that by raising everyone's voice, by just having a general conversation. And we believe by having these everyday conversations that we're going to be able to remove the stigmas attached to memory loss and help those living with the disease continue to live with purpose. And also at the same time, kind of spark everybody's creativity and passion to get out there and make a difference, to believe in the power of one. I also have to just thank everyone who listens to our show, because you, as that power of one, have made such a significant difference by sharing these shows to your Twitter tribes, to your Facebook friends, to your Google circles, to your LinkedIn colleagues, and any other social media platform that you use and tap into. You see, the more information that is out there regarding dementia and Alzheimer's disease and caregiving, the more likely people are going to tap into it when they need it. And that's significant. That is absolutely significant for people to be able to do that. And so I just want to let you know how important that is to everyone. And what a big, big difference that makes for people. Just that ease and that comfort. You know, over the last year, we are receiving so many people, we're receiving so much media out there in so many different levels that it is just absolutely wonderful to see, and very, very fun to be able to work with them on this level. And if you didn't see the parade article in the Sunday paper written by Paula Spencer Scott, she highlighted so many different initiatives from Kathy Brokey's Purple Angel program, Purple Cities Initiative, I should say, down in Tennessee, to Gary LeBlanc's wristband program. And it's just been phenomenal, just absolutely phenomenal to see. And the response from the community has just been incredible as well. So again, raising hope, sharing ideas and creativity is just really cool to see. Before I introduce our guest today, I am going to give a couple of shout outs to people. And the first one is the Alzheimer's Disease International, and they are the association of all associations. And so if you're looking for an Alzheimer's association, you can go to ADI or Alzheimer's Disease International, be able to find that association that is closest to you. You're also going to get a great global perspective. And so that's a really cool thing to be able to do. as far as that goes. In addition, there is the Alzheimer's Research and Prevention Foundation, and they do work on holistic information. So there you would have diet and exercise and meditations. And so they're just a wonderful resource. They have some educational programs that you can tap into that are free. There's also the Lewy Body Association and the Association for Frontal Temporal Degeneration, known as FTD. And if you are having issues with those specific types of dementia, I would encourage you to visit those websites as well, along with the National Aphasia Association. A lot of times people with dementia will have problems with speech, and that's just a great source for you to go to. And aphasia is spelled APHASIA. That's APHASIA. I also want to mention that the Dementia Action Alliance, which is a fairly new organization, and they have they're doing a survey. It's going to be up on the 26th here today. And so if you go to alzheimersspeaks.com, right on our homepage, you'll be able to get to those surveys. The survey is for both a person with dementia. There's one for them, and then there's also one for the care partner on that. And who else? I want to shout out to HealthStar Home Health. We're working on a really fun scenario, and I can't wait to announce what that is here shortly. But I will definitely keep you posted on that as well. So our guests are having a little trouble getting in today. I'm going to see if Gary LeBlanc is with us. I believe Michael is, but let me see if Gary is with us. Gary, are you there?
Yep. Can you hear me?
Yep, I can hear you. I'm just going to check and make sure Michael is still. Michael, are you there?
Yes, I am.
Okay, Michael Ellenbogen is with us too. So these two gentlemen are absolutely incredible advocates for the cause. Gary LeBlanc is the Common Sense Caregiver, and he writes a column, but he's written books. Just a phenomenal guy. His dad had dementia, but what he's really passionate about right now is he's working on the wristband project for the Purple Angel program, and that has just been getting just tons of accolades from around the world. Michael Ellenbogen is actually living with the disease, and he has been all over the world speaking. In fact, he went to the WHO conference this year in Geneva, I believe it was. Is that correct, Michael?
Yes, it is.
And Michael also works with us on Dementia Chats. Our key and featured guest was supposed to be Laurence Kelly, and we are still trying to figure out why he is not able to beam into us yet. So we're trying to get that all figured out, and hopefully he'll still be able to call in. Because Laurence, if you're not familiar with him, Laurence Kelly has just been a huge advocate for the Purple Angel program, and he's decided to kind of tell the story and capture it on film so that we have this amazing firsthand visual of where this global symbol for dementia has flown to. Now, many people might not, listening might not even know its origins. And so, Gary, I'm going to let you go ahead and tell people a little bit on how it got started. I know you're familiar with the background of the Purple Angel. Do you want to go ahead and give people a little background on that?
Okay. Well, our friend Norm from the UK is one who's really got this originated. His goal of having dementia-friendly communities is just growing and growing on that. So that's how everything really gets started with us over here. For me, working on the Alzheimer's dementia hospital wristband program, When I originally started this program, my idea was just to use a purple band as an at-risk symbol. Comes to find out, purple is also the national color for do not resuscitate. So that ran into some legal problems on that. So the icon, the purple angel logo, I was using for some first responder training. The hospital was like, well, why don't we use this? And that brought everything all together with the purple angel and the hospitals and the wristband together, which has gone extremely well. And especially right now, we're really, maybe 3 more hospitals just this week have contacted me. So we're really on a roll on that. And this is something that's so important because when people go into the hospitals and they're dealing with dementia, living with it, unfortunately, the confused state's at the highest point right there. Strange faces, beeping equipment, and all that. We needed a symbol not to really identify, but just to say that this person's at risk for cognitive issues. And like I said, the symbol we're using in the hospitals, it's not a diagnosis, it's just an at-risk symbol, and that's very important that we keep things on that. So things are going really well on that. We've got the program up and running. It'll be 2 years in August that it's physically been running. We've gone from there on it. Dr. Rosemary Laird, who co-wrote the book with Lisa Gibson, Take Your Oxygen First, contacted me 2 days ago. She was our first health hospital. Now she's over at Florida Hospitals over in Orlando, and they're now interested on it. That's another good chain that's going to be involved here in Florida on that one. So we're pretty excited about that one, hopefully. We're all in the works. Everything's in the works with that hospital chain, but that's something that'll help this state push it a little further. Because where the foreground started right here in Florida, and now we've just moved on. Wisconsin's very, very active on this. We might have 2 hospitals in Wisconsin coming on. One for sure, by the looks of things on it. The second one just involved this week. Connecticut, maybe 2 in Connecticut now. So the word's getting out. The small independent hospitals are willing to come on board. It's getting the big chains. If we get enough small independent hospitals involved, the big ones will crack. They'll come on board with us.
Yeah. Well, with any grassroots effort, which this is, I mean, that's what it takes. You know, it's just those small little increments, and then the big guys see it's not going away, and then they finally will merge together, you know, with things and be part.
Right.
But it does take a while to get things up and running. I'm going to go ahead and, Michael, you know, you have been just a huge advocate. I'm going to put you on hold, Gary, while I let Michael talk. But Michael Ellenbogen has just been just such a fabulous advocate for so many things regarding dementia, but you have really believed in having one global symbol, Michael. And can you tell people why you feel that that's important?
Sure. First of all, I'd like to start out by applauding Gary for the wonderful work he has done. He's been a real inspiration for me. But I guess it all started for me, I don't know now, maybe 4 or 5 years ago, way before they had these ambassadors and everything for the Purple Angel. You know, because I was dealing with people all over the world, I was coming to the point of, I guess, being confused by the amount of symbols that were out there. And it was just really, you know, this person, the association had their own, everybody had their own, and it was all supposed to represent dementia, but that only confused everybody because depending on what part of the world you were in, it wasn't clear. So I came across Norm at the time, and I saw Norm had the Purple Angel, and at that time there were so many other people that were displaying that symbol around the world versus the other symbols that were being utilized. And people knew about the Purple Angel, but they really didn't know about the other ones. You know, you might hear 1 or 2 people that would say it, but the Purple Angel to me was the one that most people seemed to know at that time. And this goes back probably 4 years ago, Lori. So at that time I had approached Norm, and I don't even know if Norm had the intention to make it worldwide at that point in time. I don't even know, to be honest with you. I don't remember. But I wanted to try to get that symbol out to everybody and try to hopefully change everybody to make that as common as it was for people having to see the handicap sign out there. I wanted that to represent like the handicap for people with dementia. So people with dementia would be able to know that if this symbol's there, they kind of knew about people with dementia, you know, and they supported people with dementia. So I started reaching out to all kind of websites all over the world, and it was a slow hurdle, I will tell you that, when I first got started. You know, a lot of misconceptions out there about this symbol. You know, a lot of people say they don't want to put this out there because it signifies religious. Well, that's not quite true. I went to the leading teachers at the biggest colleges to try to get clarification on that, and they came back and told me, while there might be religious meaning in some cases, it's not completely religious. So that's where some of the problems are, and some of the hurdles that we have to go through is re-educating people to have a better understanding of why we're using it. When I use this thing, it has no religious meaning whatsoever. In fact, many people like to represent an angel as a signal of hope. And again, nothing to do with religion. So I think it's very important for people to understand that. Then again, of course, you always get into the politics of it that I ran into problems with. Somebody who's already has a symbol, for them to now try to bring a new symbol, it's like, well, that's a real problem because they kind of support their own symbol. Well, what they don't realize, and they do realize many of it now, is that, well, what good is their symbol when they're in a different part of the world? It's not going to help anybody because nobody's going to know their symbol. So that's why it's important, while people have a symbol, that they also incorporate the purple angel. And when I say the purple angel, I mean the World Purple Angel logo, because then it means that no matter where you're at in the world, if they all know the symbol, they will know to know that area is dementia-friendly for them. People are starting to come around. I will tell you, it's not an easy battle. I've seen some people put it on their website, and because of political pressure, they removed it. But I'm hoping those places will eventually change their mind. As my God, I think Norrms up to 200 ambassadors. I'm not even sure what the latest count is, but that's a showing of how this movement is becoming bigger and bigger. And while there's people who are trying to stand up and not let it happen, it will happen because they will be the not norm if they don't jump on board.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, definitely. It is very interesting to see how this is all coming together, and the global symbol with the angel. I mean, it just shows the strength in it. The global angel is now in over 17 countries, and it was designed. We have to give a shout out to Jane Moore, who has gone hand in hand with Norrms McNamara in building this symbol. The other thing people have to realize is this has been a true grassroots effort. This is something that people, there's no cost to them. It takes very little time to be able to utilize this symbol, and there's multiple ways. The other thing that I love with this symbol is not only is it for businesses, but it's for individuals, and there's absolutely no reason that this purple angel symbol cannot be as profound and recognized worldwide as the pink ribbon is, which was started by a sister who had cancer, and her sister wanted to make a difference. And now you look at the power behind that pink ribbon. You look at the walks, the 3-day walks people are doing, the funds that are being raised, the significant changes that have happened for with the cure, and then also support services for that disease. And that's, I think, what we all really want to see with the Purple Angel, or as a whole, is to really build this momentum, pull people around the world together so that they don't feel isolated, and that they feel that it's okay. It's okay to have this disease, and that they will be supported. If you go, excuse me, a frog just entered my throat. I will get rid of them. Not wanted this morning. If you go to AlzheimerSpeaks.com and go to our About page, that is the launch pad for the Purple Angel in the U.S. And there you can actually read more about the history about it. You can also click to get your Purple Angel package. And I have to apologize because right now, since the parade article, I am behind because we have gotten so many requests from people all over, both individuals and companies, wanting to utilize this symbol. But you can by just following a simple format. In order to use the symbol, there is also a poster that was done by Norrms McNamara that's very easy to read, and it talks about confusion and checkout lines and spatial awareness and some problems with speech, money handling, repetitiveness, and these are just, like a paragraph. So this isn't going to take a lot of your time at all. And about the importance of talking with dementia, talking about it, and really being part of the conversation. And so it's absolutely critical that that we just have these simple conversations. And once you as an individual do that, you can go ahead and use this symbol. And so, we really encourage you to do that. If you're a business, then we want the business to go ahead and have their employees read this over before displaying the symbol, because again, we want people to know that it is true that people there in the business have an actual knowledge of the disease. And again, just basic, the Purple Angel is not about having all the answers. It truly is just about having a basic awareness and not having fear about the disease. And so that's I think what is so cool about this. You can use this as an individual on your Facebook page, if you have a Twitter account, if you're on LinkedIn for business, you can have the symbol out there, your Google Circles, any of your social media outlets. If you've got a blog or website, feel free to put that on. I know I have it on my email signature, and I know Michael does too. And so, again, it's really about getting people to ask, what is that? Because then you open the door for conversation. If you have personal letterhead or checks, you can use it there. People have talked about putting decals even on their cars for it. And then if you're a corporation or an organization, you can still use all those social media outlets, but maybe you'll add it to your company letterhead. Maybe you'll use it for, marketing or promotion. The only thing you can't do is utilize it to raise money and profit from it. This is really all about, pulling together for a greater cause. And so that's really the cool piece with that. We are still having problems getting Laurence patched in here. So let me see. We've got somebody else on the line. We'll see if with any luck. I've got somebody on a 661 number. And can you say who this is, please?
Laurie, is that you?
This is me, Laurence. You're there.
Laurie, how are you?
Good. I'm so glad you're here. We've been filling air a little bit, and so I just I'm thrilled that we were able to get you through. Laurence has just been such a huge promoter and supporter of the Purple Angel in terms of over in the UK sponsoring the decal stickers and really helping spread the word. And now he is shooting a film. And so, Laurence, I'm going to let you talk about the film and why you thought it was important to capture this story. Maybe we should start there.
Absolutely. Yeah, no, that's a great point to start on, and good morning to everyone listening. So, as we all know, grassroots movements, they do, of course, come and go, but it seemed that this dementia awareness campaign somehow managed to sort of walk its way across water, across language barriers, and for some reason, I believe, down to its sort of philanthropic basis and its principles, has, captured the minds of many people, an army of volunteers, an army of supporters. And again, this is started by one man, as most, things are. It always boils down to one person having an idea at a point in time when, that idea or that concept was indeed missing. And I think that all too often what we do is we remember people retrospectively, and we remember organizations, retrospectively. We don't sort of live in the now to appreciate, the good things going on today. The story of the Purple Angel is an inspirational one. It starts with, humble roots in the UK. And, today is a case in point of, just how big of an expansion, it has had. But it's not just about that. It's not just about the single organization itself. I mean, yourself, Laurie, and indeed Gary as well, Gary LeBlanc, are, in effect, Purple Angel, ambassadors and leading the charge, but also you have your own, works and what you're focusing on. If you take Alzheimer's Speaks, for example. And so the Purple Angel in that respect has, in many ways, broken the mold. It's working with organizations, it's working with people. And I think that's something we need to do more of. I think this documentary will show just how good that is. Because ultimately here in the UK, in the past, we've had cancer charities that haven't worked together. They've worked against each other, in fact. And now it's great. They all work together and they're making huge strides. At the moment, I think that there is there has to be a realization that at the moment our dementia awareness campaigners, charities and everything else, they aren't quite formed into an effective bunch. There's too much of an ownership level going on. And the Purple Angel, for me, I believe its greatest achievement is in its collaboration. You'll see at the beginning of our trailer via our Kickstarter campaign the fact that, No Dementia have also supported us in that respect. And so, one of the things that I'm keen to show, among others, and to sort of put out a message, if you like, is that we can't spend our way out of these problems. We can't just, chuck money at Alzheimer's and it's going to go away. But what we can do is we can invest in dialogue and we can invest in information. And I think that investment of time is something that we need to get more people involved in. And equally, start bridging the gaps wherever possible, because all too often, we just don't seem to sort of really connect on a local level on about the problems with dementia, and also, of course, raising awareness to support the carers or the caregivers, as you, of course, would call them in the States.
Mm-hmm. Very, very important. Can you tell us a little bit about, I know you're filming already over in the UK, and yes. Can you give people kind of a little bit of insight of how that went and what you're planning on next?
So where we started with Norman McNamara himself, having started the Purple Angel. And we laid the groundwork by also covering some of the first Purple Angel ambassadors who joined the cause in the UK, Tony Hall, Gene Saunders, to name but a few. And what we were able to do in there, we were also able to show, the effect that the Purple Angel have had. We're very proud to have met a man called Richard Tarr, who is equally, same as Norman, someone you would describe as a local hero. His organization, being the Stagecoach Bus Company down in the south of England, had signed up to become dementia aware, Purple Angel accredited. And indeed, they have the Purple Angel on their bus. And we arrived to go filming, and we, obviously met with Richard. And it was amazing because he's featured in our trailer. You can see him, doing a small piece in there. But a week before, we went to interview him and, got his story, and obviously he has a personal connection as well. He had a customer get on his bus who had dementia. This person wasn't quite sure where they were going, and he picked up the warning signs. He picked it up. He'd read Norman's leaflet. He had taken that information, and he stopped his bus, and he hailed down another bus driver and another bus driver and another, and going in the opposite direction until one of these bus drivers knew who this man was, and then they had him taken home. Now, that type of thing, that type of story, this is something that we can't all underestimate. We can't underestimate the difference that this imparting of knowledge can make to other people when when one person digests it and ultimately, uses that material in an effective way in whatever work, whatever line of business they're in. And so what we've been able to show is, so far, is the roots of the story, who, the why, the where. We've showed the incredible, developments of it also in the UK, but also the actual, real case events that have happened, whereby if this hadn't come about, if this bright spark hadn't been there, then I'd hate to think of the consequences. Now, what I want, more than anything, is one particular shot stateside, which I want everyone listening to imagine that they're watching this documentary. You're watching the documentary. We don't yet know that the Purple Angel has indeed gone global. Now, obviously, Gary LeBlanc has been instrumental in getting the Purple Angel wristband into American hospitals. So as the producer of this project, the biggest scene that I want shot in the States, not fictional, real life, is partway through our show for Norman McNamara to be looking out to sea, as we've already got the shots, and for the camera to wake up in a hospital in America, but we don't yet know it's America. The camera wakes up, the scene wakes up in a hospital bed, and we see the Purple Angel logo on the wristband. But much to the audience's surprise, the nurse or the doctor coming in, it's actually an American voice, because we are now in America. Now that logo on that wrist in that hospital with that accent will establish to everyone watching this, both in the immediacy once it's released and forevermore, the incredible expansion of this doodle that Jane Moore once described to me when I spoke to her about it, this doodle. And indeed, we've also covered the original footage of this doodle of the Purple Angel, as Jane calls it. It's more than a doodle, as I'm sure you'll agree. But
Yep.
it's a very humble lady from Cornwall. But that for me is absolutely something where, again, if you take the example of Richard Tarr, where we've looked at the imparting of information and making a difference, becoming dementia aware and all of that, and indeed his company, we also see the other side of the Purple Angel, which is about saying that, it's about how you use this information. It's about how it's pragmatically applied. So, we read stories here in the UK about people walking out of hospitals with dementia. They look, they don't look as if they're lost, because, of course, people with dementia, they don't think they're lost. But, as far as they're concerned, they're going somewhere. And unfortunately, there's no way for the nurses, there's no way for the doctors to possibly know, including with their, incredibly busy times, if this is indeed a vulnerable adult or not. Because, of course, the other thing that we're going to cover in the story, Laurie, is that, dementia isn't just an old thing. That is just an absolute myth. I mean, of course, it's more prevalent as more you get on in years. But that's just the thing, is that if we don't push this out there, if we don't make more dementia-friendly communities and everything else, then we're ultimately failing the people in our society. And that's one of the other things we want to make clear. Norman McNamara is in his 50s. He has dementia, and I think as well as that if we can educate people, education, that is the absolute key. So for anyone listening, you can get involved. You can pledge in memory of anyone who's living or has lived with dementia, and your loved one's name can be added to the memory wall, which is why we're making this documentary. But what you can actually help us do is to help us get those magic shots, which show different applications of a worldwide symbol for dementia awareness, and help us establish just how far this story has come from a English seaside town, Torquay in Devon. And I believe, and I wrote this to you, Laurie, as well. Obviously at the moment, everything's all about business and all of this, but I genuinely believe that at the moment, one of the greatest things that we can be proud of in Great Britain is our community, our community exports, if you like, our community values, being, sent across oceans and everything else, and being matched up in other areas of the world where people are able to add to that. And it's something that I feel incredibly proud of, to be British, and the fact that the Purple Angel obviously, originated in this country. And obviously in Great Britain, and having also interviewed Norman's mayor in Torquay, Gordon Oliver, who recently has been re-elected, Congratulations, Mr. Oliver. But it's fascinating because the history of Torquay, the history of Nelson, keeping his ships in the bay and all of this is what we spoke about with them there at great length. But I genuinely and passionately believe that in 100 years' time, people also say, that the Purple Angel was born here, and it's the same way and in the same vein that in this country, the Great British Legion, which looks after, soldiers who come back from combat and everything else, it does incredible work. What a lot of people don't understand about where that originates, it didn't originate from the Palace of Westminster. It wasn't political. Indeed, it was a similar type of campaign started by one very, very normal, person who said, came back from the war and said, this isn't good enough. We need to do something else about it. And this is what we're seeing, with the Purple Angel at the moment. And this is what we're seeing in its development. It's incredibly exciting. And I think it's something that we have to celebrate both in this film, but also allow this film to establish just how easy it is to get involved, just how easy it is to kind of, join the cause, if you like. And, I hope it's going to be a springboard for Purple Angel ambassadors in parts of the world that we've never even heard of, in languages that we're, going to figure out dementia awareness, campaigns and things for, and getting it all translated and stickers printed, all the rest of it. Because it's really incredible. And we have a Purple Angel ambassador in Nepal, It's fantastic. And I think in that respect as well, as a documentary and as a show, what I'm also very keen that we do here is, as I've mentioned and alluded to earlier, we don't seem to really care for our carers in this country. It's something that I've been saying for a very, very long time, and I know it's the same in the States with the caregivers. They're often the forgotten heroes of any, society. But what I most want to do is also, following the release of this documentary and various trailers as well, is I want to question conventional wisdom because, we've interviewed Norman. We know the situation there to do with his good lady, Elaine, who, of course, is his partner and carer. And, I mean, to be honest with you, it doesn't really seem as if we, in this country anyway, got the appropriate means of support for people like her, both while Norman, is being cared for and many years, after, unfortunately, he will no longer be with us. And we send a lot of money to a lot of places in the country. And at the moment in Great Britain, if you go into a supermarket, you'll see that the, discounted food section grows by the day because people have to shop in there. And we send money, all over the place. And we just have failed to look after our own people. I mean, that's the truth about it. It's not trying to get political or anything like that. But I would very much like for a debate of that nature to come out of this, because genuinely, my thoughts so far, as you'll know, of Norman being a Prime Minister's Dementia Champion, that's a great honour bestowed upon him by David Cameron, the Prime Minister of Great Britain, and also currently re-elected as well. You can't understand dementia by inviting people to Capitol Hill or to Downing Street or to whatever. You need to go into these people's lives. You need to go into their homes and see what it's like for a day, to live with it and also be the carer, themselves. And that is something that I am hell-bent, as I'm sure you can tell by my tone, to make sure we get out there, because it's a case of telling various politicians and people who can genuinely make a difference. If you're not going to go to these people's homes, then you're going to sit down, you're going to watch this, and you're going to hear an interview about how someone being a carer actually only gets 3 hours sleep a night or everything else. Because that is something that I would be incredibly proud of, and I hope that anyone backing us and supporting this project, we will do it, guys. We will do it. We will release it. It will be out there for all to see it. Any backers, of course, as stated on the campaign, will be one of the first people to see it. We will create this dialogue, these waves of wishes and emotions that we wish to have put out there. This documentary will act as the funnel for that. And as I'm sure you can tell, from producing it, this is something I feel is a real force for good. And it's not to say, it's not to say, that everything's bad or everything's, wrong. But in certain areas where you come across, and it almost seems as if, mental health, particularly in the UK, is sort of the forgotten subject, the thing that you're not supposed to discuss in front of the children and sweep under the fridge. This is something that we need to face up to, because conventional wisdom dictates a lot of things, but it seems to not really be listening to the right type of people. We've had hundreds of millions of pounds announced somehow that's going to cure all the mental health problems, but no one really knows where it's going to go. And people need to see that a grassroots movement with no public funding, with no status to receive funds and everything else, has somehow managed worldwide to spread dementia awareness, change people's lives, improve the quality of life, help set up dementia memory cafes such as your own, Laurie. This type of stuff, if we don't show it off, who else will?
Yep, very true. When you mentioned the Memory Cafe, we opened that up in Roseville, Minnesota, and they right away jumped on and became a Purple Angel, and they were so proud. They own a coffee shop, and it's a very large coffee shop, neighborhood based, and they're so good about promoting things. And again, the Memory Cafe I heard about through Norrms as well, and that has just, those have just spread throughout the country as well. Again, a grassroots movement, and has been really, really fun to see. And so they not only have the coffee shop become Purple Angels, but Arthur's Residential Homes. We've got the city of Roseville is now in the process of that through our movement there. And I don't know if you're familiar or not, but I launched the first dementia-friendly community in Wisconsin, in Watertown, Wisconsin, through the Lutheran Home Association a few years back. And Heritage Homes really, and Jan Zimmerman kind of headed that up. I was kind of the spark and helped them launch. But what was so interesting was when we did the event to kind of kick off their dementia-friendly community, we had so many people come from surrounding communities, and one of those people was Sue Conkle, who is with the Wisconsin Healthy Brain Initiative, and she yanked me over to the side, and she just said, I love this concept. She says, what I don't want, she's like, we need to do this. She's like, but I do not want to be in board meetings for 2 years before we kick this off. We want to get going. And I said, that's the whole point, is to keep this simple, to allow everyone to help and get creative and use their own skills and networks to do what they do best, and so that they have that passion behind them. And so Wisconsin has gotten really big on this too. They're very excited. I've done a lot of speaking and stuff over there, and it's just been fun, very, very fun to see the expansion.
I think as well, it's the greatest sort of endorsement that you can have is when people from all walks of life say, I get that, and I wish I had it. They always say, the one thing I always hear is, I wish I had this when my mum had dementia, or I wish I had this when my dad had dementia. Because the thing is that this can affect someone who works on Wall Street or someone who sells hot dogs on Wall Street. It doesn't matter what class you are. It doesn't matter what background you're from. It doesn't matter where you live, what car you drive. It might hit you someday. One of your loved ones might well be affected. And the thing is where do you start? Where do you start? You suddenly find yourself not able to work. You find yourself struggling, as I think we've showcased very well in our little trailer as well, which will demonstrate, what it's like from a carer's perspective. And so, these memory cafes, and again, it's why I want to get the message out there about them and get this, for people to see, is that they provide entertainment to people living with dementia, it stimulates their brains, but also the carers get just that little break that they need. And it gives them something to look forward to in the week. And equally as well, it's, a lot of them are free. It's the most amazing thing. People move heaven and hell to make sure they're open every year. Norman, I know, because we filmed in the one run in Torquay. Every year they have to raise a certain amount of money to hire the space and, get everything in. I just think it's something truly incredible. It's something that you think would be a great concept, but again, like you're saying, would it get past a board meeting, this type of thing? And I think in that respect, if you can't make change, to conventional wisdom, then I think you just have to start your own thing. Because how is it that a publicly funded, very large organisation in the UK have barely none, drop-in centres, memory centres, etc., but one that has, obviously no funding at all, manages to make loads, including the drop-in centres in the Day Lewis pharmacies in the south of the UK as well. And again, that's been featured by this. So it's not a case of looking at, where other funds go in this country and this and that. But as I said, it's about celebrating what a bit of, a bit of grit, between the teeth can achieve. Because if you want to get something done, I always say find someone busy to do it. And Norman McNamara and his team of Purple Angels here in the UK, and indeed yourselves, you're busy people and you get things done.
Yeah. No, I can't believe this hour is flying by here. I want to have you talk about the Kickstarter program and how people can get involved with bringing your film crew over here to the U.S. so that you can kind of get that whole thing pulled together with Norrms looking out over the ocean and showing its spread. So can you explain to people?
We're looking to come and film, the work of Purple Angels ambassadors, yourself, Laurie, Gary LeBlanc, and also hopefully to cover some of the dementia-friendly cities initiatives that's going on stateside. We need your guys' help to, make that a reality. We've had some very, very, very good support so far. Very nice messages, received about what we're doing, and obviously we're eternally grateful for everyone in that respect. This is a people's project. If you want to contribute or can contribute to something that you feel will make a difference, which we absolutely intend this documentary to be doing, then please support us via Kickstarter. Check out the pledging section. You can pledge in memory of your loved one who's lived or who's living with dementia, and that will appear in our credits immediately at the end of the show. And there's other sections as well that you can pledge in. You can pledge to have your loved one's name, in between the waves and the beginning of the scenes. Basically, check out the page and see. You can view the trailer and you can see exactly what's been shot before. You can understand as well that we're taking this story, in its sort of progression. So where we've filmed so far is we've filmed sort of everything other than the expansion across the Atlantic Ocean. You can help us to film in more places, to interview more people, to tell more stories, and ultimately enable us to create one of the first, if not the first, documentaries which features dementia on a global scale. It doesn't just focus on it in one area or one province in a state somewhere, or in one of the counties here in the UK, which is so often the case. I've seen documentaries on dementia. I've seen the tone that's often adopted with it as well. We're also looking for the positives. Laurie, I read your blog about your mother and about how, obviously the celebration of life and everything else. We're not going to make a documentary which is going to be anything other than, upbeat, seeing the positives, celebrating things along the way. Because frankly, if you don't, then there's no way to beat this. We have people living with dementia are still they're still the same people. They're just not always there all the time. And if you allow us and support us to tell this story, we will represent, what you're about. We will absolutely make sure that we further establish the Purple Angel Network to get stronger and stronger, from allowing this documentary to be a springboard for it to continue growing. And what we will also do, without doubt, is if there are any carers out there, we will raise the profile that there isn't enough support for you. We will do that. That is a mission statement. That will go on long after this documentary is finished, because the old saying is seeing is believing. And we will make people believe, because we will capture it on film, and it will make its way to the right people, we believe, who can ultimately look at that and say, okay, well, that isn't working. Because at the moment, to continue as we are is the easiest thing, because it requires nobody to really do any work. We need to wake up certain people in government offices about the lack of support for carers, about the lack of funding for carers, about the lack of community projects such as these memory cafes and no money going towards them. We need to spark a debate here, and you can help spark that up. And I would be very, very grateful to anyone who can pledge, share, get in touch, reach out, because ultimately we're doing this for you. We're doing this for people who've lived and are living with dementia and their carers. And we take it very, very seriously. It is not something that we're just doing for a bit of fun. We have a mission statement in mind, and with your help, we will achieve all of these things.
Well, it's really exciting. You talked about, pulling kind of the globe together, and, we have the G8 summit, and I kind of look at this as the people's, global movement. And we don't have a number behind it, but it would be neat if they would incorporate that into what they're doing, because, sometimes things get so complicated, and that's what the beauty of this whole thing is the simplicity in which people can participate, at whatever level. And so, like you said, if they don't have the funds, you still may have connections. You still may have social media that you can push this out to. All of that helps. And that's what's worked so nicely with that. Now, you can go to alzheimersspeaks.com on the home page and find out more about the Kickstarter program. There's also a blog. We'll have the radio show. We'll push it out with that as well. But if you go to Kickstarter, if you go to Filming the Purple Angel Dementia Campaign, you should be able to find that by Googling that as well. And
or if you search dementia on Kickstarter, you'll find us as well.
Okay, wonderful. Yeah. And I'm just going to pull Gary back in here. Gary, do you have it posted on your website as well?
No, what I'm going to do is actually today, if I get the chance, I'm getting ready to walk up the door for a speaking event. I'm going to do the whole trailer and put a link right to the Kickstarter right on the homepage of commonsensecaregiving.com.
Okay, that will be.
We did send out a newsletter blast last night on it, so we got things running on it. And
yep.
Lori, if you want to join us, we're going to do a dementia roundtable this Sunday on it.
Oh, okay, yeah. What time is that at, Gary?
For you, it would be 10 a.m.
10 a.m. Okay, yeah. I'll try to make that. And Michael, again, I want to include you in on this conversation. You've just been such a big force in terms of raising awareness with this and getting to key people, and really appreciate your efforts as well with the movement. It takes all of us from all different angles, and it's such a critical piece. Is there anything else that you wanted to add, Michael?
No, I just think that if we just continue down this road, and I think with Laurence's help, I think it's just going to help drive this to the point that eventually everybody will put this symbol out there, and hopefully this will become the standard symbol around the world.
Absolutely, and I think as well, on the sort of ownership level, obviously you guys have a slightly different look on the Purple Angel to what we have in the UK. You have the world symbol behind it. I think that is the exciting part as well would be to see, again, the same way that we say, the Purple Angel was born in the UK, in Torquay. Another great angle would be if the Purple Angel worldwide, was really launched, from America, from our American cousins, if you like, because naturally, the ownership of those campaigns, ultimately, they're with the people who are in those countries, and that's one of the great successes of it. You can't sit in an office in London and make something that will go worldwide, because we don't necessarily have the values, the community values and the local knowledge, and so that's one of the biggest strengths. So this is able to go to a place like Nepal or America or Great Britain or Ireland or Spain or Germany, of course, as we know it already is. Loads and loads and loads of countries. Language knows no barrier. If you want to get involved, create more dementia awareness, there's as long as you can provide the literature and translate the writing and the instructions and things, then we're a goer, and I think that's awesome.
Yeah, it's going to be fun to watch, that's for sure, and fun to see. Can you just mention some of the levels quickly? We just have a couple of minutes left here, but
sure.
that people can get involved in, Laurence?
Yeah, of course. Well, you can get involved between anywhere from £10 and the equivalent of the equivalent of sort of like $20, all the way up to I think it's $1,600 or $700, because it converts into pounds from pounds to dollars, obviously. So you can for the lower level, you can support us and be in the memory wall. For the sort of intermediate level of pledge, you can support the names in between the waves and that type of thing at the beginning of the credits. So at the beginning of the documentary, your loved one's name can appear, in the rolling credits that you'll see at the beginning of the trailer via the Kickstarter link on Gary and Laurie's websites and obviously emails. You can see that, and then going down the pledge list at the other end of the spectrum, you can have your loved one's name and image appearing in between one of the scenes. And again, you can see on Kickstarter the amount of pledges that are available in each category. So in the names between the wave scenes, it's sort of under 10 places available. On the memory wall, at the end of the just immediately after the end of the show, there's 300 of those available. And to have your loved one's image in between scenes, there's 2 of those available. So, check it out, share it, get in touch, let us know exactly, what this documentary means to you, because this is also something that I can take and show with, my crew when I drag them out of bed at horribly early hours of the morning to go and film. But this is why we're doing it. And that so far has been a real support, because this project initially was backed on Kickstarter, and we come back to Kickstarter as the community, that supports from the beginning. This wouldn't have got made, if I'm being honest with you, Laurie, by commissioning officers here in the UK, because it, obviously seeing is believing is the first thing, but equally, it had to be made independently. We would have sat in a meeting in boardrooms and everything else for probably about 2 years before we got anywhere. Near the level of saying, okay, yeah, go shoot that. And so we're going independent. You're backing an independent venture, an independent filmmakers.
Wonderful. Well, I want to thank you so much for joining us today, Laurence.
Thank you.
And Michael Ellenbogen and Gary LeBlanc. We're looking forward to getting this film done. And if you are, I also just want to mention, if anyone is interested in getting involved in a clinical trial, check out the Alzheimer's team, and you can actually help reshape treatments as well. Go to alzheimerspeaks.com. You'll be able to see the Kickstarter program right on our homepage, or you can always go to the About page and click on the section that says Purple Angel. Have a blessed day, and I hope you join us to make a difference, to shift caregiving from crisis to comfort around the world, and utilizing your own talents and creativity to make peace in the world. Thank you.
Hi, everyone. This is Meredith from the Senior Fitness with Meredith podcast, where I discuss all things for seniors. From fitness, your health and wellness journeys, how to be all over strong and beyond. I also have my mini podcast called Motivation with Meredith. It's a great, quick motivational pick-me-up for your days. Join me, listen now, search for Senior Fitness with Meredith on your favorite podcast platform.